Thiago is absolutely world class. There's no way around it. Thiago is absolutely world class. When he came to Bayern, he was as good on the ball as he is now, but he lacked defensively. He wasn't as good defensively. And since he arrived at Bayern in 2013, he's improved massively defensively, and he's been absolutely fantastic. You know, he will do a slide tackle. He will try and win the ball. He will fight for every ball. And then obviously we have the qualities that he has on the ball. And on the ball, he is simply superb. With him on the pitch, you will win possession guaranteed. And it's not just possession for the sake of possession, it's possession for the sake of unlocking a defensive team, for the sake of unlocking a defensive formation. He will help you in those regards. He will boss the midfield. He is world class, and he will be world class for any team that he plays, because a player with that much talent but also that much determination to get better is a recipe for absolute fantastic amazingness. Let's use that word, amazingness. Your team, from what I've read, has struggled tremendously against teams that sit back and defend, and that's where he comes in perfect. In a normal game, in your edge-to-edge, corner-to-corner, side-to-side games, he'll be there perfectly as well. He'll slot in, he'll find the passes, he'll defend, and he'll do everything except score goals. That's the one aspect of his game that he could perhaps work on, but that's a different story. Try and find the pass, he will chip the ball over the defense. He's been used to it. The first 2 years, especially, you know, when he worked under Pep, he was basically used in that role to help him break down teams that would set up defensive against us, and it worked brilliantly. So he's got that experience. Lately, you know, he's also had the experience of playing against teams that go at our throat, and he's looked superb in those as well. So he is a player that can play in any system. He's a player that can play in any style, and that's why I think he'll bring that necessary technique to your team, but he also will bring that necessary steel to your team. Quite sad, but not heartbreaking. Thiago has always been as good as he has been. I know that there's obviously been a huge focus on him this season with us winning the treble and everything, but like, he's always been as good as he has been, and I felt like he's always been a little bit underrated, even amongst Bayern fans, because he essentially came in with Pep, and people thought he's gonna stay as long as Pep stays, and then when Pep left, people were like, so he hasn't left yet. Interesting. So he's always kind of had this against him, where he seemed like Pep's pet in a way. I always very much enjoyed him. I always saw the technique that he has on offer that he can show. But I also do understand, you know, it's a footballer's career. He's played in Barcelona, he's played at Bayern, now he wants to play in Liverpool. And, you know, for the way I look at it, is a football's career is relatively short. And from that perspective, I can definitely understand him wanting to get a new challenge. You know, he's not getting any younger. So he came to Bayern. He promised, well, he said in one of his first interviews that he wants to win the Champions League at Bayern. He's managed to do that. The way I see it, he has earned wherever he wants to go, and I'm glad that the transfer happened, because he really wanted it to happen. So that's my perspective on the whole thing. I would say yes. Of course, when you add very talented players to your squad, it raises the expectations of what a team should achieve. And Thiago, make no mistake, he is a world-class player. He isn't going to get you the goals. I mean, I alluded to that earlier. He isn't going to score you the goals. I don't know what it is. A player that can spray the ball with any type of foot, you know, from one area of the pitch to the other. He scores like 2 goals a season. Like, whenever he finds himself in front of goal, he doesn't score. It would make no sense if it didn't raise expectations. Teams that you might have struggled against in the past, suddenly you look a lot more controlled. Suddenly you are a lot more controlled against those teams. Suddenly they can't attack you mindlessly, because, quite frankly, you keep the ball. Oh, they're trying to press Thiago. Well, he reads the press and then he leads a counter attack. You know, these kind of things, they add up, and ultimately against teams that sit back, he will come in, he will spray the ball behind the defense, and that's that. Yes, he can. When he came earlier at Bayern, he kind of played as a number 6, and then towards like the end of Pep's reign at Bayern, he then moved forward to like a number 8 role. There has been a few times where he's played a number 10 as well, but like he's very varied. He's very variable. He can play on any of those positions in midfield. It's not like he has to play as number 6 or he has to play as number 8. He can switch between them. He is great at what he does because he's quick. He's a quick thinker, and that's really what helps him excel at every stage in midfield. He gets the ball, he looks up, and he tries to play the ball forward. If I were to say where I think his best position is, it's actually quite difficult because he's had fantastic games, and I don't want to like the recency bias, hit me, but like he's had fantastic games everywhere in midfield. For example, earlier this season we played with Thiago and Kimmich, and that's where Thiago played a little bit further forward, and he was brilliant there. Obviously, he had to slot back, deeper with Kimmich playing as right back now and Goretzka then doing the hard work up front. So it just shows you that like he can play anywhere, and we didn't look any weaker wherever he played. He has gotten a lot more physical. He's a lot stronger and a lot more ready to tackle and a lot more ready to challenge for the ball than a lot of people might look at him and see, because he isn't really the tallest person. He's not really the tallest player, but in terms of like the physicality, I don't think there's that much of a difference between the Bundesliga and the Premier League. So he's gonna just slot right in. You'll see it right away. He's not quite like a terrier where like a little pit bull. He's not quite like that, but he will go in for he will go in for those challenges. He will go in for those tackles. He may not look like it, but he will fight for every single ball, and that's something that I think a lot of people that don't watch him regular won't see, and that's something that a lot of people will be very much surprised about. So I don't think he's going to struggle at all. World class players can play in any league, in my opinion. I don't have an issue with the price. I know, 30 million, give or take, like 27 million pounds. I should be in uproar. He's a world-class player and we pay that much, but I think it's actually quite fair. I don't think it's necessarily a bad deal for either side. That sounds like a fee that I think is fair for both parties, especially with Corona. If it wasn't Corona, I'd probably say 40 million, but like 30 million for me, it sounds like a very fair deal. He is a world-class player, but he is also, in the 30s, so, or nearing the 30s. And from that perspective, it's fine.
Particularly Edwards, the job that he's done has been phenomenal in the last few years. His recruitment has been as close to perfection. No, Paul Tompkins used to say for years, at best you got 50% of your transfers right. And over the history of like Premier League transfers, that's kind of largely how it worked out. Liverpool are so above and beyond the curve. It is ridiculous.
Sharpshooter, aren't we, at the moment?
Just phenomenal, mate.